Well, welcome everyone. Radio Free QuickBooks. It's May 13th. Hope you're enjoying your time, whatever you're doing tonight or throughout the week as you listen to this show. 7:30 Eastern. Glad to have you aboard. Thanks for listening. And I'll be one of your hosts this evening. My name's Woody Adams. I'm a product specialist with Intuit. And though Intuit's not affiliated with the show, the opinion statements and views of the show may or may not reflect those of Intuit. So I just wanted to make sure that was there. And so that's me. I'm out here in Secaucus, New Jersey, a beautiful suburb of Newark. And we're out here for the New Jersey Accounting, Business, and Technology Show. Looking forward to that. I think our buddy MB Ramundi will be out here as well. And
Yay.
It's a skeleton crew, but we got a bunch of Intuit folks out and just spreading the word, evangelizing QBO, QBOA. But on with us, it's a full slate. We got Stacy Kildall and Don Brolin. Stacy, how are you doing tonight there?
You know what? I'm doing pretty good. I want to take a minute real quick. You can see it up. I'm doing a screen share. I want to mention real quick, I want to talk about our sponsors. We have Avalara.com. We have ExactOnline.com. We have TSheets.com. We have Zencash.com. We have UnidataIT.com. And so if you want, you can go to RadioFreeQB.com. We have links to all of our sponsors. They're amazing sponsors. We're very, very picky about the companies and the products that we choose to sponsor our radio show. And so I just want to let you guys all know, please visit our sponsors. They help us bring you really hopefully what you think is good content. So I'm going to stop screen share and I'm going to say, hi, how are you? And just so that you know, my shirt says it's called pop, not soda, because I live in the Mitten and we call it pop, not soda. And I know if you're from Texas, you call it all Coke, which I think is insane. I'm just going to put that out there. It doesn't matter what it is, right? It's all a Coke, regardless of what it is. Am I right? Is that right, Woody?
Yeah, I believe so. My grandpappy called it a Pepsi or a Fresca, but he was from Portsmouth, Rhode Island, so I don't really know.
It's all good.
But yeah, it's called Coke or Dr. Pepper. Yeah, that's what they call it under here, under the umbrella, some kind of soda. We don't really drink it anymore in our house, but yes, that is what it is still called. And Dawn.
You said you call it poison earlier.
Yeah, sugar. Poison.
Yeah.
Sugar's poison. Dawn, how are you doing tonight? Where are you at?
I am in the command center because with the Google Hangout thing, I can't be anywhere else because I can't figure out what I'm doing already here. But I do like your hat, Woody.
Yeah.
I'm looking. Okay, I'm going to pretend I'm looking at you. You're over.
Look at
you're
how
actually
crystal
over here.
clear your screen is. I just want to say, did you get the camera?
Yeah, Dawn, that's great.
Well, if you wipe it down, just do a little wipe down, it cleans it right up. No, I didn't. I did move it down though from I'll call it a top of my monitors, and I brought it down a little bit today. It
looks great.
An upside down cup, but
just beautiful. I just want to tell you. You can
see
your beautiful blue eyes. I just want to say, I'm going to give you a little bit of loving today. You look gorgeous.
Well, I say thank you for that because I did make an effort today because I showered and I put a little bit of makeup on and I brushed my hair. And
I did not do that.
Extra mile today, Brolin. Extra mile.
I did the shower. None of the brushing.
Okay, and that you don't have to, you see, and so that's perfect. I don't even have a ponytail in today, which, you know, I figure at 43 years old I probably could stop that, but it's just convenient. You know, it's not even about. It's not about how old you are. It's about how convenient it is. It's about convenience, like right, Woody. It's like not getting this drive-through. It's it's somebody's capitalizing on people's desire to stay in their car. And Kitty.
I'm not eating that either.
Is in.
We're not eating that anymore either.
So,
yeah.
That's also poison.
Anyway.
And we're not.
Well, I have to have coffee.
I hear you. Coffee's good. Black.
Coffee is good.
If you have almond milk or coconut milk, stay away from soy.
Wait, Woody, real quick, because we have to ask how you are, Woody, of course, but I saw that our little baby did a little roll forward on Facebook.
We realized
that
yesterday,
kid,
Nick pointed out that when she's in her chair, she'll try to, like, roll up towards her toes closed, and she's going to roll right out. So we've been, you started getting that time where she's going to start rolling. She's going to start rolling and shifting, and you got to be careful. You can't just lay her on her back on a couch and just go away for 5 minutes.
She's going to bounce right off.
The funny thing about her, she can probably get off the couch and figure out how to get back up on it without you ever knowing about it.
Right.
I don't think so.
She's got it all figured out. You just don't know it.
She's funny though. She is hysterical, man. That girl's a scream. Yeah, no, things are going good. Out here for this week. It's tomorrow and Thursday, and then I fly back, and then I'll see you guys in San Antonio. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Nice.
Scaling New Heights. Go to scalingNewHeights.com and sign up. Hopefully, you guys are all going. It's gonna be really fun. San Antonio's a blast. Never been. Looking forward to learning from it, and thanks, Stacy, for that sponsor page. That is awesome. Oh, I wanted to mention about T-Sheets. They are now the very first third-party application for QBO Canada, interestingly enough. So if you're listening to the show, you're from Canada, use QuickBooks Online.
I don't know.
You can connect T-Sheets.
Really? Because I thought SOS.
Yeah, I saw it on Facebook.
Not that I'm putting down our sponsor, but I thought SOS was global. I'm just saying.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm just saying. I thought they've been global for a while. I don't know. And they're not our sponsor, but I could be wrong.
I believe everything on Facebook. So.
Okay.
As far as I know.
Well,
it's true.
if it's on the internet, then it's true.
Exactly. So, do you guys have any cool QuickBooks related things to share before we start with our questions? I figure we just run through our questions tonight, get them going. But
I have a special project that I'm working on.
Nice.
I have a client who has 3 different QBO files, and we are combining them into one. And so what we have done, they've actually already done a little bit of the work. They already have them converted to desktop. And so what happened was they used to be 3 different entities, and now they're all under one. And my camera is going all funky, I think because I have cats in the background, and my camera's trying to focus on me and maybe my cats. I have 3 cats. I'm not gonna lie, I call them ass cats because they're a bunch of jackasses. I'm not gonna lie about that. I love them dearly, but they are a bunch of jackasses. There are 3 of them, and they're ass cats. And so they converted already to desktop, and so what I'm doing is I'm reclassing all of them to the DBA that they are, and then I'm going to export every transaction, and then we're going to create one big giant desktop file and then convert it back to QBO, and that's what I'm working on right now. So that's my big special project right now that I'm doing, and that's it. So, and Dawn is on the chat because we have like a behind the scenes. So for people who somebody's meowing to get out, so I'm gonna have to step away for just a second. I'm sure you can see him. That's Yoda in the background, and he's our big baby. He's whining, so I'm gonna have to get up and let him go in a second. I don't even know what I was gonna say, so I'm gonna let him go, and I'm gonna let you guys
go for
talk.
it.
Yeah.
Sounds good. So Don, you got anything new going on, QuickBooks related? Fun stuff.
Wow, you're
Enterprise,
so
point of sale.
You're pretty restrictive, Woody. Got to stick to QuickBooks, right? Can't be, something else. I'm just kidding. No. I'm totally just kidding. Totally just kidding. Well, we've just been plugging away on a couple of projects. I have found it fairly astounding at how so many people are filing tax returns with horrible QuickBooks files. I'm not sure where the data is coming from. And so, to the point where clients are in a lot of ways in quite a liability situation, right? So they're counting on people to do their job if they say they're going to do their job, and then they don't, and then they file tax returns that are not accurate or whatever the case is, and it's really unfortunate. It really is. So we've just really been plugging away in a lot of cases with trying to keep people out of trouble. I have had a couple people call for installations, which is weird because I don't really get a lot of that. But I'm not really doing that right now, honestly. But you know, it's just interesting, and working a lot with people on their payroll and some, you know, board reports and things. You know, kind of straightforward right now because I've been really just trying to hide. So that's just the truth. I've been trying to hide a little bit, take a little bit of a break.
Good.
So,
After that season,
yeah.
especially, you know, gosh.
Oh, it's yeah.
It's a tough
Again,
one.
as I always say, it's like having a baby.
Well, I have an interesting thing. It's not really a conundrum. I believe I gave the correct advice, but I wanted to run it by you guys. It has to do with QBO, but it doesn't have to be specific to QBO. Just have, you know, some of the steps involve QBO, but really there's a client. I mean, QBO is a sub-story. There's an overall story that really I want to talk to you guys about it. So there is a firm accountant of one of the sales consultants I support, and she's a pro advisor, and they have a lot of desktop clients, and they have some QBO clients. And one QuickBooks Online client specifically is changing their entity type, and they're doing it after they've already they paid some employees in January and February, so it's not like a clean break or something like that. So I checked with some people at Intuit on, you know, what are the ramifications with payroll, things like that. I mean, really, you should start a new file, or do you know, because you don't want to just change the entity type and then you have those 2 months that are under the wrong entity type, things like that. I think so. For the best practice to be thorough, I suggested, you know, and it was actually, she also came up with this cool idea too. So kind of both of us are working it. She has a QBO subscription. She's going to convert the file to, and just hear me out and let me know if it's overkill. She's going to convert the file to desktop and then keep the file in desktop for those 2 months of the tax returns when she gets the taxes for TY 2014. So that data file will be in stasis for January and February, okay? And then she's also going to cancel the QuickBooks Online file and the payroll, and then start a brand new QuickBooks Online subscription with the correct entity type and start payroll, because from some of my friends in the Intuit Online payroll side, they said, well, really to be clean, they're going to want to start a whole new IOP subscription. So that's kind of what she's doing. I believe it's really thorough. A small smidgen of me wonders if it's like we're way over analyzing it. Do you guys have any thoughts? Am I on the right track, or is it overkill?
You got to ask yourself. I mean, that's one of the first things you got to ask yourself, Woody. Are you on the right track here?
And you know,
and the answer is, you're just trying to do a show about QuickBooks.
I wanted to be thorough, and you know, and make sure that they.
I think it's the right thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think it's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
If she's changing the EIN, she's got to.
Right. That's what I was thinking.
Right.
I mean,
so. Yeah, she has to do that. There's no like succession scenario like sometimes the Department of Labor. If you've had an unemployment account before, you know, you can. For the same entity type or not entity type, but the same business and all, they deal with that a little bit different. But the IRS, you know, new EIN, they got to file a whole new payroll, finalize the old, and so on. Yeah.
Yeah. So her first email.
If it's a different entity, I mean, it totally depends on what the purpose is of the entity type as far as the QBO file goes. Except I think you said she had payroll before, right?
Right. So they had payroll last year, and then they had payroll through 2 months of this year. So.
Yeah.
You know, they're keeping that thought. Yeah. And I think they're going to start a whole new file, right, with the whole new payroll.
Yeah.
And her first email to the sales consultant who forwarded it to me was, can I just change the, you know, EIN and the entity type? And actually, you can't really do that in IOP. I mean, I think you can, but it's really like you shouldn't, I guess is what I mean, to be thorough.
Well, we had a client who changed, you know, what the heck did he do? Wow, I just blanked out. We ended up shutting. I know what happened. He has two entities, and we shut payroll off on one, and then turned it on in the other file. But we had to make a decision whether we kept the subscription in Intuit Online Payroll. It wasn't Intuit Full Service. It was Intuit Online Payroll, and we decided, we filed the final 941s, we did all that stuff, and then I was like, you know what, for W-2s and all that, we'll deal with that at year end. There's no point in them paying a subscription for the whole year.
Right, exactly.
So, I mean, that made sense.
That's why they went down to the desktop file and they're just going to leave that in stasis until they do taxes next January or February, for this guy. Because they have to do the taxes for January and February of this year. So they're just going to leave that file so she has it and use enhanced payroll for accountants to process the forms for that entity for those first 2 months of the year. Then it's done, ship sales. And then from March through, they're in this QBO file, brand new with new payroll. And so she'll be doing taxes for him twice, but that's correct because it's 2 different businesses. All right, that's cool. I just wanted to make sure it wasn't like causing her a huge rigmarole, yet at the same time, sometimes you have to go through all that. Not that this is going to be entirely terrible. The worst part will be what will the data file be like when it's in desktop from QBO. That's really the only thing that's a problem or a concern.
I would say that I would like to see Intuit Online payroll when people do. It's not always because they're switching companies. Sometimes it's for a legitimate reason. They're either closing payroll down for one entity or maybe they're just closing it down and starting it up, but that they would offer a, like year-end plan where they would say, okay, well, you can keep your data with us and then we'll, for X number to $100, I don't care what it is, we'll do your W-2s and year-end processing. Like we don't expect them to file the quarterlies for the rest of the year, but at least, because there won't be any, with the exception of unemployment, at least in Connecticut, you have to file for 2 more years after you shut down unemployment, which is totally ridiculous. Like, if you don't file the zero return on time, you get charged $25. Like, it's stupid. But that's Connecticut. So, but at least, the 941 you can file as final, and the withholding return you can file as final, and everyone gets to move on with their life. But if they would offer something that would give our Intuit Online payroll people who do discontinue, shut down, change to a different entity, whatever the case is, give them an option for a year-end filing. And unless I've lost my mind, they told us we either had to shut off the subscription or we pay the rest of the year for 2 W-2s, which is stupid.
Yeah. Well, good. Sometimes you got to do all that to get it happening. So they're good. I'm trying to think of something else cool that happened, but it's more of just a limitation. The unit of measure in both Premier and Enterprise is pretty much the same. Enterprise doesn't give you any better unit of measure functionality, and it's really hard, I guess, for when they have several subunits throughout the process, but they want to just have one unit at the end to report on. Yeah. It gets difficult, So that's when you pull in an Activate or Fishbowl or Mises or Exact Online, I should say, something like that. So I got a question like that today, but it was an easy email. It was like, well, Enterprise isn't going to have any better unit of measure functionality than Premier Manufacturing Wholesale. So it's just how it is. I mean, the unit of measure in desktop is really very fundamental in that you're going to start from, whatever unit of measure you pick, make sure that that's what you want the cost of the item to be. I mean, the valuation is going to be based on that, So I could buy it in cases and sell it in eaches, or buy it in pounds and sell it in volume or something, but it's really hard to do within QuickBooks. But I have to choose for my valuation report what unit of measure is that cost going to be by, and so I think that people run into problems with that. So that's I think when you really do need a third party, if that's absolutely critical, or can you do some inventory adjustments and stuff. But that was really the main stuff that happened to me this week. Some QBO things. Trying to the wholesale billing. There's you can now add clients to your consolidated bill if you use the new QuickBooks Online accountant. You have to put in a billing profile, and then you'll see this option there under the gear icon. And but there's some parameters. They can't have payroll. You have to be a master admin on the file, of course, because you're going to take over the billing. And they have to have Essentials or Plus and have an active subscription. So that's 4 parameters. And if people have been seeing something about that, you're probably going to hear more about the consolidated billing, where you can have a wholesale billing of 30% off for the life of the QBO sub if you use the new QBOA. So I was working with a firm And they have the difficulty in all this is that a lot of the firms are using the old QBOA, and let's say, Don, you have 5 staff, or something like that. You guys all have your own QBOA, right? I mean, you do. And so you all have your own clients as the accountant user using your own QBOA. But if you really want the wholesale billing or consolidated billing because it works for you, and I can't wait till we have a better kind of approach at this, but for now there's just some growing pains, honestly. Then what you have to do is there's some steps before I can even add any clients onto this consolidated bill. I have to choose one person in the office to be the accountant user on all the client files and then make that change. That's not really a big deal, but still, you're in there. Then I have to also be the master admin, which I'm probably not on any of yours and probably none of mine because the clients have the billing. So transferring the master admin is like the big bottleneck. Once you can do it, obviously, it's not entirely difficult, but it just takes time. It's just a time suck. So you have all those done. Once those 2 ducks are in the row, and then I sign up for the new QBOA at office.intuit.com, then I can add my QBO clients onto the consolidated billing. And it's nice. You see them listed there. You're paying. You roll into the fee to the firm, to the client, as you do. I just wish it was not as convoluted. But so we were, I was walking an accountant through it, and she gets it. We did it for 1, and it took a while just to get the process down for 1, and now they're going to do that for 14 more. So it's an okay story. It's an okay story.
It's an okay story.
I can't, So hopefully one day we'll have a better transition or process. But consolidated billing's out there, and of course, when you add new clients, it's slick, right? Because you're already the master admin and the account user, and it's really easy to add into your billing. That's just part of the initial process. So you can find out more about the new QBOA at office.intuit.com. And I wanted to remind people about the Wikipedia site. If you go to accountants.intuit.com, hover over QuickBooks, the QuickBooks tab at the top, we got all our products there, everything from Lacert to Pro Series, QuickBooks, whatever, payroll, payments. Hover over QuickBooks, down towards the little bottom section that opens up, it says QuickBooks Online, Wikipedia Resource Center. It is a great site, everything QBO for accountants. Training videos, webinars, live recorded, PDFs comparing desktop to QBO, all that kind of stuff. So I do encourage you to bookmark that. Nice. And that's really what I've been up to, other than I've been tracking my time in T-sheets and sending it to QBO, which is kind of like automatically sent. It's pretty sweet, So
it's pretty hot.
All that kind of stuff. Yeah, it is. It's pretty sweet. So questions. Here's a good one, and it's one we haven't heard in a while. But thanks for letting me get those 3 things off my chest. How to resolve balance sheet out of balance. This is the cash basis. I'd say about once a year. This question comes up on particular forums. So I just wanted to run through the KB article just so everybody would have it recorded and understand. Now, obviously, sometimes it can be, and then have Dawn and Stacy weigh in for when they run into this. But I had a couple people run into this. One was actually in QBO, which is weird because that doesn't happen a lot on QuickBooks Online, but also on the desktop. And yes, the culprit is discounts, using the discount to pay off an invoice, sadly enough. There's other things too, but that's often a culprit. So this is there's a great KB if you just go, on QuickBooks.com/support, balance sheet out of balance. That's all you got to do. There's several of them, and they list you, all the different scenarios. There's like a plus sign, and for your scenario, you can click on the plus, and it gives you all the steps. They've really done a good job, support has, and the people writing the KBs to kind of conglomerate this balance sheet out of balance issue, which again is more of a desktop phenomenon than QuickBooks Online. But so what you do is you run a balance sheet for all dates on a cash basis, sort the columns by year. This is when it's not a rebuild issue. Sometimes you're just going to rebuild the data and it solves it, right? So try some of those things. But this reporting method is pretty easy to run. It probably take you about 20 to 30 minutes to find it. So you run you start off a balance sheet on a cash basis for the whole year. and then you sort columns by year. All dates, sorry, sort columns by year. Once you find the year that went out of balance, just by looking, to see if it's in balance or not, then you obviously run that balance sheet for that year, sorting columns by month, and so on. And you run, when you find the month that first went out, then you run the cash basis balance sheet for that month that it first went out, sorting the columns by week. And then you find the week, and then you sort by day. And then you find the actual day when the difference happens. When you have that day, then you run 3 reports. Now, QBO also has these reports under a different name, but you can do this in QuickBooks Online or desktop. You run a transaction list by customer for that day. You run a transaction list by vendor for that day. Again, you're trying to find the amount that's off. And then you run a transaction detail account with splits, and that's under an accountant report, but in QBO, it's called transaction list with splits in the accountant's report section. Now, once you find the transaction, assuming you can, usually you can, when you do, you edit that transaction and change the date out about 20 years. I don't necessarily think you have to do 20 years. You could probably do 5 or 40.
40.
I just think,
you know what, I'd probably go with 13.
Yeah.
I like 13.
At least 13 years in the future.
Yes.
And then you save it, and it's going to kind of what do you call it? Basically what a rebuild does. It kind of links the transaction to whatever it was not really properly linked to, like one-sided transactions from power surges or something. And then you check your cash basis balance sheet for all dates. If it's in balance, go back to the transaction, edit it, and put it to the correct date. So it's old school, but it will work for when the CBBS is out for a particular amount that you can find. Now, if you can't find it, then you're looking at rebuilding data several times, doing all these other tricks, or sometimes actually checking the win log for little things, but that doesn't always help for this issue. I don't even know if I would check it, honestly. And probably sending the file into data services. But again, it doesn't happen in QBO, which is why I was quite shocked that it does, just not as much as, it's more of an anomaly versus in the desktop. And I almost wonder, and I think why would that be? I'll just sit there and, I'll just kind of stare off and think why in the desktop it's more of an issue. I'm just kidding. No, I'll wonder about it, and I think because in QBO they have, like, even though I know there's the discount field when you go pay an invoice, but in QBO the discount field is on the invoice, and I don't know, because it's closer to the form, maybe it just doesn't get dislodged as easily. No one would agree with me. But
you've been watching too much 24.
Right.
Use the word dislodged.
It's getting good. Last night was I think they're really taking it into a good place. I enjoyed it. I looked up and it had already been 45 minutes, and I was sad because I knew it was almost over.
You know what? Don't talk about it, because we are binge watchers. We are hardcore Justified. We watch Justified on FX, and we watch 24 as well. And so what we do is we record them all on the DVR, and then when the season is over, Kevin and I binge, and we watch all of them at once. Great. And then
I'm not going to tell you.
Yeah, we binge on all of them kind of at one time, or as many of them as we can, and then we stay up till like 2. I know. Well, that one is I think that one is a different one. Like I said, we have 3, and they're
Everyone just come on over.
That's a different one. That's leftover.
No, that's actually, your background just keeps playing over and over again, because that cat keeps going tight to the bookcase.
Like the Flintstones. It's like the Flintstones, where it's the same thing where it just keeps going back and forth. No, that one is leftover. That one is leftover. And
I'm sorry, I couldn't.
Who is Yoda's brother? I'm just saying. So Yoda is the orange one, and leftover is the gray one. And then Ethel is our old lady cat. So Yeah, and Ethel's like
Ethel.
14, and she's really bitchy, and but she's very snuggly on her terms. And that was the one that just walked behind me was leftover, and he's the one that we shaved a couple months ago. But anyway, so we binge watch it, and then we stay up until like 3 in the morning, and it's almost like we stayed up drinking because then the next day we have like a television hangover, and Kevin and I look at each other like, why did we stay up so late? We're so exhausted. So you can't.
Well, that's great. You're gonna love
spoilers.
it. I won't say anything. Okay. And what was I gonna say? Oh, Dawn, any other nuggets about the balance sheet being out of balance thing, or is that it?
I think Dawn stepped away for a moment.
Oh, really?
I think so.
I'm good.
Oh, okay.
Sorry about that. Sorry about that.
No, I was just wondering if you have any other thoughts on it.
I don't.
Okay, good. That's fine.
Really. No, it was actually you did a great job of explaining it, and it's an interesting problem to have. I hate when that happens, right? So, I mean, usually you can find it pretty quick. You run the reports, and you get the dates going. You can figure it out, but always user error in most cases. I mean, I'm not saying that there's not data issues, but I would say it's an application problem. Not a QuickBooks application problem, unlike what people would think, an application. Which, by the way, if you think about the word application, how it's evolved over time, Woody. Application would be like apply for something, like an application, like you're getting a job.
Right, a work application.
Application means, an application like a wound application. You're applying something on a wound. And now all of a sudden, application means software. It's it's changed. You can't assume people know what you're talking about, Woody. I'm just saying.
It's a real general. You're right. It's a real general term now. That's a good
general
point,
word
Don.
now. It's like the.
No, it's good.
I don't go that far, but.
I'm probably not a denominator, but yeah, I know I get it. I understand what you're
Woody, you had your camera positioned so there were trees in your picture to your left, my right. I think
wait.
If I turn, you have some trees. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
look.
I got a picture.
You should steal the curtain and the picture and take it home with you because it's perfect.
Yeah, it helps because then I don't have the white wall thing going on at home.
Well, no, it's like landscape for the evening.
Yeah. Or I should just do the show from a hotel every week. Just pay for an hour. But I don't want to go to those hotels because I think that would be scary. Right? That would be very scary for me. So I wouldn't go to that part of town. But I can do.
That's awesome. Get out your roll of quarters, Woody. Rest. I think it's my fault.
All right, we are. Here's another question. 2012. Now, Dawn or Stacy, and this one I took from the community. How do I receive payment and credit it to a specific chart of account? So they created an invoice, but on the invoice, they couldn't choose the chart of account that they want to credit, the revenue account. Yep. So how can they actually credit that revenue account on an invoice? Can you guys explain that?
I'm raising my hand.
Go for it.
Well, so they would just create an item, of course, So,
exactly.
Really, they just create an item and map it to that chart of accounts, and that's all good stuff. Could make it a double-sided item for all I care at that point. It could.
I loved that question because it was so like, for a while I had to think about it. And I was like, well, wait a minute. Right. The item is what hits the accounts, right? So so right. I went on and explained that, and the guy was like, some days I'll hit that community, and I get up to like top 4 contributor. That's crazy. I mean, I was just one day I was just slamming it, but today I'm like, I don't even exist anymore. It's like if you're gone for like 6 or 8 hours, you don't exist anymore. You know what I mean? So. Yeah. These people, when you're answering, they're like,
you know what? I have to apologize. I missed the question. For those of you who are watching, you got to see Eric. He just came down to say goodnight and climbed up on my lap. Oh. And so
nice.
I missed the question. I apologize.
Eric.
What was the question?
No, it's all right. No, it's just someone, they wanted to know where on an invoice do you choose the chart of accounts to credit for revenue. And
well, it depends on the item. Right?
Exactly.
Is that what you guys are saying? Well, you have to make sure the items are...
Right.
Yeah.
The point is that they didn't know, like when you go to a bill or a check, you see an expenses tab or an accounts tab, right? Account details. not so on an invoice. So, and I love that type of rudimentary question. Hey, there's Eric again.
Oh, those are great.
I love that type of rudimentary question. He's right behind your chair. This is awesome. He's hiding. That type of rudimentary question is great. Go ahead, Don.
So I love those questions, Woody, because I get a
awesome.
text from clients and they're like, "Hey, I have a quick question." So immediately I'm like, "No, it's not." So that's, I know who lies to me. Just kidding. But there's one client, they really are always quick questions. And I love to call her back because they're the questions you're like, I totally know I can answer this question without even thinking about it. And those are fun for me. Like, they don't always have to be these, like I had a call with someone today about stock options.
Oh, I know.
And making sure, they valuing them properly and making, that stuff's you got to really think about that stuff. And it's fun, but it's nothing like, I want to refund someone some money. That's fun. It's nothing like refunding some money.
I hear you. It's nice to have
like that. Nothing at all.
Those QuickBooks fundamentals, because then you can really tangent about items and the nature of items and how they're the pawns and they move everything around QuickBooks and how important they are for things like job costing and detail and stuff. And that question is really the end of the innocence for that person, as far as QuickBooks goes.
It's the end of the innocence. Is that what you said?
I think it's a slippery slope, from that question. Soon he's going to be back on. Soon he's going to be back on asking how to take in barrels of oil in volume and how I can possibly convert it for him to cases.
Yes.
And then that's the one. Wow. Like, no, man. Ask me the invoice question again. Come on. Ask me that one. All right.
I know. It's a good one. It's a fun one.
So I wanted to share out for a second. I wanted to show you guys something and see if I'm able to do this. Hold on one second. I'm going to choose to share, and I want to just take a little breather for a second and watch the Abby roll. I don't know if you guys can see it, but here she is. She's going to roll. There's Isaac. You guys seeing it yet?
So Woody is showing a video right now of his absolutely wonderfully
there she goes. Almost.
Chunky baby.
Oh.
Just rolling around.
And then Isaac saves her. Isaac brings her back, and then she likes it so much he can't even hold her back. Trying to hold her back.
It's awesome? She's that kid. She's going, you know what, Isaac? I really don't need you to hold me. I can rip myself back in a heartbeat. But I'm going to let you think you're helpful. He's like, yeah, watch this. This kid keeps trying to hold me back. Yeah.
That was good stuff. All right.
That was good stuff.
Back at it. Let's go back to questions.
Back to questions. I haven't answered anything. I have been absolutely positively. I'm just going to put this out there. I'm going to call it before anybody else does because I know we're going to get emails. I've been absolutely, utterly useless on this show.
No, you've been great. You've been great.
Nope. I have not contributed any bit.
We got one for you. Go ahead, Woody.
Bring it.
Yeah. So I'm going to ask a question, and it actually, this isn't an in-product thing. I think it's fun. We're having fun just kind of talking like as if we're on TV, yet we're still doing kind of a show and theoretically slamming through the questions, which I think is really nice. QuickBooks Online to Mac. So, Stacy, you don't have to show this. Obviously, this would take too long, but I understand I cannot directly convert QBO to Mac. But since so this person has QuickBooks for Mac. This is probably not happening every day. But I don't own a PC. How do I get my online QuickBooks to QuickBooks for the Mac? I was told by an Intuit employee that I would have no problem converting if I did not like the online edition. And I think they might, maybe the person, to be fair to the Intuit employee, which might even have been me, I did not, they did not know that they have a Mac. So let's be fair. Okay, Stacy, go ahead.
So I'm just gonna say something. I'm just gonna put this out there. I only have, and I'm gonna admit this. I feel like I'm gonna get this off my chest. I don't think I've said this publicly, so I'm saying this publicly. I love QuickBooks for Mac. I really do like it, but I have to admit I pretty much only have QuickBooks for Mac on my computer. I have an 11-inch MacBook Air, which I believe someone from Intuit, I believe it was Shane Hamby, ripped on me a couple weeks ago, rightly so probably, as being the only person who has an 11-inch MacBook Air, and I have two. But anyway, so I have a Mac, and I converted my practice to Mac so that I can support all the QuickBooks versions. I use Unidata for my hosting. So I have Pro Premier Enterprise in my Unidata hosting account. I have QBO, and I have Mac. And I would say for the last couple of years, I have used my QuickBooks for Mac to do conversions and not much else, and to convert to QuickBooks Online. What I do is I open up the file, and now with 2014, and I'm beta testing 2015. Honestly, wow. And it's not like I'm pushing them. They're coming to me, and they want to convert to it. I'm not. I really am trying to be very. Normally I'm like, hey, let's move to QBO, but when the Mac clients come to me, they're usually coming to me because they want to move to QuickBooks Online. Most clients that I get, most prospective clients, are coming to me because they have read an article, they have seen me. I mean, Kathy Iconis referred to me as the QBO godmother the other day, and I thought that was absolutely hilarious.
Nice.
Yeah, I like that a little bit.
Can I just jump in for 1 second?
Yeah,
Yeah.
If you didn't have a track in your basement, a kiddie track, you know, like a racetrack, a kiddie racetrack.
What are they doing?
You have one.
Is it a track?
Because I want you to just keep your camera on for at least a handful of hours, because I am enjoying watching the kiddies so much. I'm sorry I interrupted your story. I think there's now some kind of a track lapping kind of thing going on. It's not. There's not like an in and out.
So the deal is that.
And there's more than one.
There's more than one what?
Happening right now. Like there's not just one kitty. There's a couple of them.
I have 3 cats.
I get that. But you've had one steady roamer for most of this show. And right now we have a couple. We're multiplying. There's a herd of animals in your basement. It's like Noah. Is it raining? Is it Noah's Ark? Sorry.
So the reason why is because the food and the litter boxes are down here. So they're behind. They're around the corner. So with Mac. So going back to Mac, yeah, the food is also, that's Yoda. So everybody who's watching on YouTube.
Oh yeah, the yellow one, Yoda.
He's orange. He's orange. He's an orange one. Right. Yeah. That's Yoda. So anyway, with Mac, what's happening is I have Mac on my installed so that I can do conversions, and so with the older versions, I save it as like QuickBooks for Windows, but now basically they give me whatever version of QuickBooks for Mac they have. I upgrade it, and then I basically just convert it to QBO, because they're coming to me, they don't really want to stay on Mac, and if they want to stay on Mac, that's fine and that's great, but what I'm finding is the clients that are coming to me, they're wanting to move to QBO, and so to move to Mac, what they're going to have to do from QuickBooks Online is they're going to have to convert to desktop, and then they're going to have to convert from desktop, from Windows basically, to Mac, and that's really the only options, because there's no way to go directly from QuickBooks Online to QuickBooks for Mac, and so that's the problem. However, there is an option, and I don't, am I allowed to talk about it, Woody, the beta test? No, I'm going to just stop talking right now.
Yeah,
so, yep, so I will just say that. So right now, QuickBooks, QBO, QuickBooks Online to QuickBooks for Windows, and then we convert to QuickBooks for Mac. I'd be more than happy to do that if somebody is interested, because I have like 3 or 4 different versions of QuickBooks for Mac that I can do that to. So there you go. That's the only way to do it.
Thank you. And that's cool because that question's been on our board for a while. I wanted to get that one off, so thanks for taking that.
Oh, really? Okay, cool.
Yep. And just to clear up, I think I might have mentioned something last week. There's a lot of accountants copy questions, of course, on the community. These questions are not so much on LinkedIn. I find that, LinkedIn, a lot of the accountants on there are long-time QuickBooks users and use QuickBooks Accountant and understand that you can't take a backup file and convert it to an accountant's copy file. Really, you restore it. So the accountant made a backup copy of the file with QuickBooks Pro 2013. I have Premier Contractor, and the only option is to replace our company file. How do we fix that? So you could save that one to a new location. A different location. You don't have to replace it. It'll create a company file. And then how do I restore my accountant's copy to my contractor's version of Premier? Also, you're not going to have that option. That conversion submenu, that's going to be in QuickBooks Accountant or Enterprise Accountant. But most people listening to the show already know that. Here's a fun one, Dawn, and I like it. Now this is desktop. How do I change? So they set up their file. They went through the setup interview, the initial one, and he did it a year ago.
Yeah.
How do I change the settings that are asked in that initial QuickBooks setup interview? It's been a year since I set it up. So he started using QuickBooks 2013's the product he purchased. Let's say it's Pro in February of 2013. And so like a year and a half ago, when I went through the initial setup interview for the new company, I didn't have enough accounting knowledge to answer most of the questions, etc. So he just kind of blew through it. The only ones he wants to change are accrual to cash accounting for reporting, company tax form from partnership to S corp. We kind of already alluded to that earlier today, but assuming it's the same EIN. Services only company, industry to construction. So when you start out, you can choose your industry chart of accounts. So if you want to take a handle on this, I'm happy to weigh in too.
And I appreciate that, Woody, that you're willing to do that for me. That's love.
Truly
is.
is.
Woody. All right, so these are fun ones. These are kind of fun. Easy step interview for those who are new to QuickBooks. It works great, right? So they get that standard chart of accounts. That's all good stuff. For accrual to cash accounting, a couple different things. Number one, they can go into their preferences and go to reports. So go to preferences, reports, change it to accrual from cash, and that's fine. Certainly you can do it report by report, but if you're always pulling accrual basis reports, you take your own eyes out because you have to do it every single time. And just another note on that, as far as the reporting goes, if you've memorized reports and they're memorized under the cash basis, you will have to re-memorize those under accrual because memorized reports won't kind of refresh, right? So you gotta think a little bit about that. It's good stuff. And just to take it one step further, Woody, because that's how we help people. If we've memorized reports and we've exported those reports, which you can do and is wonderful and fun, exporting the reports, if you've memorized them, exported them, and you're using those as templates for other company files, and this person's probably not doing that, but for those that are, just remember, whatever method you've exported them in, that's what you're going to get. It doesn't change based on a QuickBooks file preference. And then the company tax form, just go to company information. That one's pretty fun. So you go to the company menu, down to company information, then you can change the tax form from a partnership from a 1065 to an 1120S, which looks like what they want here. If it's a services only company, really the purpose of that is for items, right? So if they chose that they were services and products, that doesn't necessarily say that you have inventory though. So when you're in the Easy Step interview and you say, yeah, I sell products and services, that doesn't mean it turns on inventory. That's a separate question, right?
It's not going to hurt him. It's not going to hurt him at all. Yeah,
so there's no real way to change that once you've gone through the interview, but it doesn't really matter, honestly, because the item list comes out.
Agree.
I mean, you still have the choice for services and non-inventory parts, regardless of actually how you answer that question. So there's that.
Totally.
And then industry to construction. Now they could be in a little bit of a pickle there if they bought Premier. You said we're going to assume they use Pro. And in Pro, it doesn't really matter, with the exception of the fact that if they wanted to change it to construction and they wanted that standard chart of accounts, and maybe they've chosen general products or general services, right? When they did the Easy Step interview, and they're getting a specific chart of accounts that's just for general, right? So they're not getting all the construction income, cost of goods sold set up for contractors and those kind of things. That's a little bit of a tricky thing, because technically they could go in, depending on if it's a year ago, they probably have a lot of information in there possibly. Things are up and running now. They can certainly import an IIF chart of accounts. So they could import a new chart of accounts, but they're probably going to, add to the chart of accounts they already have, and that could be a little bit of a problem. They could merge accounts. So if they did import a contractor or construction type of chart of accounts, they could be merging those accounts into their existing and, kind of cleaning up, but that might be a little bit too over the top. But really, they can't change the industry once they've moved, and I thought that kind of struck in my brain. What if it's a Premier version? So what they could do, Woody, and I'm going out on a limb here. So what they could do is back up their QuickBooks file, right? And because I'm thinking of contractor-specific reports is where, and I don't know, I'm just throwing this out there. I have not tested it. This has not been tested. This is not FDA approved, but I'm going to throw this out there. So what if they took a backup of the company file, uninstalled QuickBooks Premier? Let's say they had Premier and they didn't install the contractor version. They could then uninstall QuickBooks. They have a license and product. It's cool. They buy or they reinstall QuickBooks and choose the contractor for industry. I don't know if this is possible. I've never even tried it. But then restore the QuickBooks file. They might have the contractor-specific reports. I don't know. I went way too far on this, Woody. You did not stop me, and so it's on you.
No, it's good. It's cool. It's cool that you brought that up. I think they were just talking about.
You did not stop me.
And thanks for weighing in on each one of those points. All I agree with, and I think they were just talking about not that they had contractor edition and should have got general business or vice versa.
Listen,
so I
Woody,
really think
I get it.
Pro user, but I understand what you're saying. It's good.
I'm just always trying to go the extra mile.
No, and that's good. I mean, I applaud that, Dawn.
I appreciate it. And it means a lot to me.
I try to do that with that QBO payroll conundrum. We talked at the very beginning. You never want to overkill it, but I think that's important. It's funny. I used to work with emotionally disturbed adolescents. Like group homes in the Massachusetts area when I was younger, and QuickBooks.
Are you folding your laundry?
No. I'm just saying that sometimes overkill is very important. If a particular person living at the house was losing it, and it was in a violent way and possibly threatening to others, overkill of staff is good.
Yeah,
in that situation.
Safety in numbers right there, my friend.
Nothing wrong there, right? So to restrain and stuff, but so now I'm not saying that QuickBooks. I think the show on Tuesdays may throw me off a little bit. I feel like it's Wednesday, but it's only Tuesday. So I'm not sure if it ruins my week or makes it better.
I just want you guys to know, having the show on Tuesday completely jacks up my entire week.
Really?
Really? You have no idea. Like, I get done with the show, and because we changed the time from 90 minutes to 60 minutes, I think that it's 9 o'clock on Wednesday, and it completely, look, I can't,
so your week's
so
longer.
Dawn already knows my struggle with time zones, and so now I'm in my own time zone, and I'm struggling with my own time zone, and it's brutal. Like, my whole week, I really am struggling, and it's only like the third week or the second week that we've moved it to Tuesdays, so it's gonna take a little time for me to get used to it. But I do like it. I like it better. I like the 1 hour.
The hour format's fun.
Yeah, I like
Power
that.
hour.
It is a power hour, and but it's messing with me because I think, yeah, I'm halfway done. Because the show for me has always been like, okay, I'm halfway done with the week, right? Like, it's literally the halfway point of the week. I'm done with half of it. And now not so much. I still have a lot left of my week now.
Right. I have two comments. First, I wanted to circle back. I'm not saying that QuickBooks is an emotionally disturbed adolescent. I'm saying that depending on the data entry involved by the user, it could behave in that fashion, and sometimes overkill is necessary. And people listen or pro-advise, you know what I'm talking about, right? So you've had to get some overkill and restraining the situation in the QuickBooks file. I think it's a pretty good analogy. I love the hour format. It's a power hour, and this is our fourth or fifth Google Hangout. This is the first one that I've actually enjoyed because, you know, sometimes we'll share out, sometimes we won't, but it's good to be able to talk while we can see each other, yet people can still listen without watching. Or they can watch, because most people who listen are working during the day, so they're not really watching because it's too distracting, but they can still listen, and it's just an hour. We all have other things going on, and I think that it's becoming, in my opinion, for me, a lot more fun that it is an hour. I don't care if it's Tuesday or Wednesday, but I like that the hour's really nice, and the fact that, you know, it's a hangout.
And you know what? I want to say one thing, and one of the reasons why we decided that one of the reasons that we're moving to the format that we're moving to, and that we're doing this, is we have learned that not a lot of people listen to the show via iTunes. We have the majority of the people are listening through their web browser, and what we have found is that when it gives us another opportunity to really help the audience with the screen share. So when we do have an opportunity to show you how to do something, it really kind of helps out. But we also have the option to, you can also just listen through like the web browser, because on YouTube. So it makes it a lot easier. So that's why, because most people are listening through the web browser, but now we have the option with going live with the YouTube and the Hangout and all that other stuff. We have kind of an extra thing that we can give our audience, which is the screen share. So that's why we're doing it. FYI.
Yeah. And just tonight, you know, we had Abby rolling over. That was the screen share. But
yes,
you know, we'll have other screen shares that are more QuickBooks related, you know, in product stuff. We get something really juicy. But a lot of this stuff tonight, you can just kind of talk through, and it's fun. I think we're aligned. So yeah, sponsors, sweet. Or Dawn, did you have any thoughts?
Nope.
Good. Not one?
No, good. No, I think I've said more than I'm supposed to already.
Okay, that's cool.
That's awesome.
All right, sponsors.
Okay, that's apparently it.
Nobody else wants to do sponsor? I did sponsor.
Yes, I'm happy. You know, we'd like to thank our sponsors for sponsoring Radio Free QuickBooks. Of course, Avalara, Dynamic Sales Tax Engine. Avalara.com. I've always referred to them as Avatax. They're out of Bennington, Washington. So kind of the north there on Puget Sound. And any kind of sales tax conundrum your client's in, desktop or QBO, Avalara has the answer. Also, for inventory, manufacturing, wholesale, things that could handle that troublesome unit of measure scenario I was talking about earlier, that would be Exact Online. ExactOnline.com. Works both with desktop and QuickBooks Online. T-Sheets, again, great time tracking, time clock software, web-based, all over the world. 28, 29 different countries. If you're going to Scaling New Heights, they'll be there. Most of these are going to be there anyway. Zencash, Zencash.com, AR services. I finally hooked up Zencash to one of my QBO files. It doesn't push anything back to QBO, but it pulls out or desktop the information, so you have timelines, when do people owe you. They can even do collection services, AR services. Get rid of that accounts receivable, or let Zencash handle it. And then finally, Unidata, UnidataIT.com. QuickBooks and Microsoft Office hosting, excellent partner over the years with Radio Free QuickBooks. And Don and Stacy use them for their platform. And that's really all we have. You guys have anything else for this week?
No. I got nothing.
Right on.
Nope.
Well, you guys have a great week. We'll talk to you next Wednesday.
Peace out.